Can't pick your family, but you can certainly pick your friends. So that might be why friendship issues can sometimes seem even more complicated than family drama. Do you know how long we've been friends? Since we were 21 and 22, and now we're...
64.
And I'm 63. So that's over 40 years. So
When you look at that video now, did you ever imagine that we'd be sitting here talking in front of thousands of people in Denver 35 years later?
Absolutely not. I never imagined that you would be doing what you're doing. You know, when your career first started taking off, and to see, I remember you had an interview with Larry King, and I said to Oprah, are you the first half hour or the second half hour? She said, I'm the whole hour. I go, he only does that for really big people.
I was sharing with the audience that we've talked every day, except for that
When
one
my
week
mom
when your
died,
mom
yeah,
died.
yeah.
And this is how nice Gail is. Remember I told you she's nice?
My mom
Gail is
died.
so nice that on the day that her mother died, I was having a dinner at my house with Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington, yes.
And Gail's mother passed away. And it wasn't until like 10 o'clock at night, she called me and she said, is Denzel gone? And I said, yeah. And she said, I lost my anchor today. And I said, what does that mean? She said, my mother passed away. And I went, why didn't you call me? And she goes, I didn't want to mess up the dinner with Denzel.
Yeah. I didn't.
That is so nice.
I wasn't even thinking about, because I knew you were looking forward to that dinner. And you know, if somebody calls and you have to have a reaction, then you have to go back and say, oh, Gail just called, da-da-da-da-da. There's nothing anybody can do about it, so I thought I would just wait, yeah.
So I was saying to the audience too, that all these years, I've had therapy in front of the camera, and I never needed therapy because I had you as my friend. That's what I want to talk to you about. One of the most important concepts I've ever encountered. One that has the potential to either revolutionize the relationship you're in or create a model for the next one. I'm talking about spiritual partnerships, an idea that first was introduced to me by best-selling author Gary Zukav, whose work has opened the door for so many of my own revelations and has changed how I move through the world, that Gary Zukav, Seed of the Soul, did. Now, according to Gary, a spiritual partnership is a partnership between equals for the purpose of spiritual growth. Now, equals doesn't mean you do the same things or have the same number in your bank account. It means that you're equal in your value system and your desire to help the other fulfill and manifest their destiny and purpose. You want that person to be all that they can be, and they want you to be all that you can be.
We've been friends since we were
21 and 22.
21 and 22.
You're older.
There is not a better human being in the world, as far as I'm concerned. She's going to become everybody's best friend on this morning show. I can see that. People are reacting. They say that to me in the streets about her. Oh, but I understand why she's your best friend. You know why? I will tell you why. Because in all of our years of friendship, she has always been happier for me about anything that occurred in my life. When I left Baltimore and I was coming to Chicago, she was the happiest. When I got in the color purple, she was the happiest.
And I get madder than you do when people
she gets
say
madder.
something.
The last week when everybody was doing the
Yes.
press thing, she was so upset. I was saying, I only read one thing. I'm not reading it all, so don't tell me.
Yes.
But never a hint of jealousy, always wanting what's best for me. And that's what everybody needs in any kind of relationship.
But
or
Oprah,
friendship.
you want the same for me too.
And I also
That's
want
what's
the
so.
same for her.
That's
What does a spiritual partnership look like in practice? It starts with the truth, as Gary told me when I sat down with him and his wife, Linda Francis, for an episode of Super Soul Sunday. That means telling the truth. That means being the truth. That means bringing out the truth in other people, and particularly the person who is your mate. And the recognition that you're both in the relationship to grow into who you're meant to be as individuals as well as a couple. And each having desire to see the other become the best version of themselves. That's what a spiritual partnership is. Of course, this process, it gets messy. But as Gary reminded me, it's not the relationship that's painful. It's what you discover in yourself that can be painful. That said, it's absolutely worth it. Through a spiritual partnership, you become more responsible, more aware, and actually more of yourself. Yet most relationships, they are not spiritual partnerships. In fact, even most marriages aren't. But here's the thing. You could begin to develop one, whether you're in a relationship or you're single. All you need is somebody who's equally committed to your spiritual growth and you to theirs.
You were with me all the while. You were with me all the while.